Right. What we have next is something very exciting, which is looking at the future of learning. And in that context, we have Simon Nelson, who is the CEO of FutureLearn. FutureLearn, for those who don't know, is one of the world's leading online learning platforms. It is used by 25% of the top 200 universities in the world. It's the #1 social learning platform in the world. And Simon is one of the rock stars of EdTech. So welcome him to the stage, Simon.
Thank you. Rock star of EdTech. Well, that's a dubious honour, but it's delightful to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about what FutureLearn does and how we're trying to move towards our mission of transforming access to education. So FutureLearn was set up 6.5 years ago now by myself with investment from the British Open University, who are, as you may well know, one of the world leaders in distance and online learning. And we were set up as a British and then European response to the emergence of MOOCs, which were sweeping through the United States at the time. Massive open online courses quickly drew quite a polarized response from those evangelists claiming that MOOCs would solve the educational ills of the planet, and those skeptics who were dismissing the whole thing as a fad that would quickly disappear. The answer, of course, was somewhere in the middle of that, and anyone who foresaw the disappearance of MOOCs might want to refer to some of the data that's on sites like Class Central, which shows the growth in the number of students, number of universities offering them, the number of courses now available under that MOOC-type approach. However, at FutureLearn, our purpose is to transform access to education. It's not as if MOOCs have yet got anywhere near approaching that challenge. The global shortage of higher education is only growing every year. We have worked with EY Parthenon and studied some of their analysis about the growing middle class in developing countries and the growing demand for tertiary education. And their estimates are that if one was to satisfy the need for tertiary education by 2030 with physical universities, you would have to be building 700 new universities serving 25,000 people a year, or about 14 a week. So that is simply not going to happen, and as a result of which I have little patience for some of the arguments about the balance of a campus-based education versus an online education. We can simply not meet demand unless we explore more online solutions. And that's before you get to the growing global skills gaps. In developed as well as developing countries, there is huge need for teachers, for nurses, for digital skills. And the emergence of AI and automation across industries and digitization is only growing and growing that need among different learners than the universities have traditionally targeted. So we were delighted earlier this year to welcome new investment and a new investor alongside the Open University. So Seek, who are an Australian employment marketplace who've been expanding aggressively all around the world, have invested 50 million into FutureLearn. They're an extremely impressive company that have expanded beyond jobs boards and jobs marketplaces into education and run one of the leading online education companies in the world through a joint venture with Swinburne University. They operate employment marketplaces across 18 countries, are market leaders in 14 of them, and that includes small countries like China, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. So we feel these bring, alongside the Open University, a fantastic powerful shareholder base and board to help really drive us towards that massive and audacious goal of transforming access to education. So what they're investing in and where we're going to be trying to develop are the foundations we've built over the last 6 years. So firstly, in our platform, where early on we decided to custom build our own platform to try to build a user experience that would rival the kind of media, retail, banking experiences that people expected now on their phones, and put some distance between what's often quite a clunky experience that people still get from learning management systems, VLEs, and other MOOC platforms. We decided to differentiate by picking on the element of MOOCs that we thought was most interesting. Not the ability to just broadcast video over the web, but the fact that people were learning together in vast global communities, and if you created your platform and your learning experience in the right way, they could learn from each other as well as from the educators. So we've really put huge effort into social learning and built FutureLearn as a social network for learning. We've now attracted nearly 10 million learners from just about every country in the planet, with particular strengths across UK, Europe, Australia, and North America. But our ambition is now to significantly grow this number by investing in FutureLearn.com as a marketplace, an environment where millions of learners can come together and learn from the world's greatest educational establishments, and increasingly connect with employers as well. Our partner base, as Charles mentioned, includes a quarter of the world's top universities, drawn from, again, all parts of the globe, particular strength in the UK, where we have around 30 of the top 40 UK universities, in Australia, where we have nearly a dozen universities, and in growing across the US and Asia. But also a range of non-university partners, from the British Council to the Raspberry Pi Foundation, so who have broader educational missions, or employers like Accenture, who are also using our platform and using our marketplace to grow their connection with learners. And we're going to be investing in the unbundled architecture that we've already created, that enables people to start on short courses, but progress through micro-credentials and stack them ultimately towards full degrees. So with our short courses, we're targeting particular portfolios where we're trying to develop a coherent range of content that we can offer direct to learners and increasingly to enterprise as well. So in areas like business and management, digital skills, healthcare, where we have particular strength, drawing on some of our relationships with the big London universities, for example, King's College, UCL, and teaching, where the British Council relationship has brought us access to and connection with millions of teachers all around the world. We provide a range of business models, largely freemium business models around those short courses, so including pay-as-you-go, but increasingly we've been migrating towards subscription-type services. So we launched FutureLearn Unlimited about 6 months ago, and it's gone very well. And we just announced our new micro-credential standard, which we are now starting to develop with universities and increasingly employers and professional organizations, so that we can create these new types of flexible, professionally relevant qualifications that can stack into postgraduate certificates, postgraduate diplomas, and ultimately master's degrees. And this ability to unbundle the degree and repackage it and represent it in new flexible ways for professional learners is our bet and our investors' bet on where this market is going. And we do offer full online degrees now, well over 20 on the platform that you can start for free, from now 7 universities that we have announced, and more to come, including the Open University, Coventry University, Deakin University in Australia, and Dublin City University, who we announced the other day. But I guess the way I'd end this short introduction to FutureLearn is just by talking about collaboration, because that mission that I put up, that purpose to transform access to education, is not going to be achieved by any single player. And so one of the ways we're trying to encourage our partners to work is to actually collaborate together. So we have joint degrees now developed by two of our partners, Deakin and Coventry. And their commentary to us when they asked us to do this was, if they tried to do this independently, there's all sorts of barriers in the way. But they said to me, FutureLearn is Switzerland. You're a neutral zone. Because we're already using the same platform, the same pedagogic approach, the same way of recognizing credit, actually it's way easier to collaborate through your platform than it would be individually. So this is really something we're trying to develop, cross-country collaboration and co-creation of degrees and qualifications. That's the reason why we were central in pulling together the European MOOC Consortium as well, to try to recognize a common micro-credential framework. Because there's been a lot of talk about micro-credentials. There are a lot of players in the market already. Some platforms have more than one on their own platform. But what we're trying to do is foster collaboration between ourselves, the French MOOC platform, Spanish MOOC platforms, Italian and other European organizations, and increasingly beyond there, to try to bring some consistency for learners and for employers in this market. And then finally, we are also trying to foster collaboration with government. We've already become the platform underpinning a number of government-funded initiatives, such as the Institute of Coding, National Centre for Computing Education, and this is one that is DFID-funded, where they fund ourselves and the British Council to promote British universities and a British education to people in non-OECD countries. So offering the chance to get started for free and then provide a pathway into the UK. So we're delighted with the progress we've made. We're delighted with where FutureLearn has got to 6.5 years into our journey, but we still are only scratching the surface of that ambition to really use the power of digital technology to genuinely transform access for people all around the world. And that is something that is a prize that's big enough to share and is too big not to share. So thank you very much, and thanks for your time.